Welcome back, Rankers. I had a great week. I learned heaps. I spent about 4 days on the Gold Coast, which was nice in itself. But I was there, if you remember from last week, for the Professional eBay Sellers Alliance Conference. And a lot of people said to me afterwards, eBay? Jim, really? What's that good? What do you know about eBay? Well, absolutely nothing. Except, I can say my wife knows more about eBay than I do. But I learned a lot from the people there because whilst it's the Professional eBay Sellers Alliance, basically, they're all really incredible online retailers. They started off in eBay, and of course then they've got properties all over the web, a lot of them. And the thing I learned from a lot of them was just about the sorts of things that they go through on a daily basis in order to, boost their sales and all those sorts of things. And of course, in the world outside of eBay and also within eBay, because you can get your eBay store ranked, is SEO, and they wanted to talk about SEO. And one of the things I was talking about while I was up there was greasing the sales funnel, or lubing the sales funnel, basically reducing friction points throughout the purchasing transaction process so that it's easier for people to hand over their details and of course their hard-earned cash. This one company here, Postal Revolution, out of the US, postalrevolution.com, started by a guy called Adam Hirsch, who actually wanted to take a bet with me that Gold Coast would beat the Magpies. And being a good Australian host, I said, yeah, I'll take that bet. And he's American. But one of the things I found great about his site, and he said in one of the presentations he was doing that eBay now only represent about 2% of their entire sales. But if you have a look at one of their mailing list forms here, this is a classic example of using Microcopy to reduce those sticking points when filling out a form. And when we talk about Microcopy, we're just talking about putting little things in there that enable people to go, okay, I don't mind handing over that detail, okay, that makes sense to me, rather than bailing out at this point when someone asks for my birthday. And because I was filling out the form, and my first reaction was, really? You want my... Oh, I see. You'd love to give me... Oh, I might actually get a poster on my birthday. I doubt it, though, because he's already given me some cash for winning a bet with the AFL. But it's those sorts of things with your own forms that you can try out and test and make sure you've got your goals set up in Google Analytics so you can have a look at the sales funnels and see where people drop out of that purchasing process, and then go back and look at the forms themselves and say, well, what else could we do here to make it easier for people to make the decision to continue on in that transaction? One of the things that came out of the conference that was really important for Australian online retailers to look at was Google Product Search. Now, I first talked about Google Product Search back in 2009 when it became part of Google Universal Search. It's the old Google base that was Google Classifieds, but it's now integrated into search. I've started seeing it with a few types of searches in Australia where you'll start to see it in the normal search results, but a lot of the times it will be only in this link here where you see shopping on the site, on Google. And for instance, if I type in Linksys E1000 wireless router and I look at everything, we can see here that we have got a shopping result. Now, this is at google.com.au. So that's a number 3 result. Now, your site could actually be in there. I mean, that's just another way to get onto the first page of Google. You can also see down here, we've got a video on that particular router. And it will show up for some searches and not for others. For instance, if we put in this model number of this particular projector, we're not seeing any shopping results here. But if someone's looking for a price, maybe they will click on the shopping tag. And what's interesting for me in this instance is that, we've got eBay, but we actually don't have any of the big brand retailers. Now, when you look at the Australian dollar today, a lot of those offline Australian retailers are going to be going through conniptions at the thought that or well, Australians are about to get online and go and buy from the US again. But in a lot of instances, and in this instance this morning, I found prices cheaper in Australia than what they are overseas for certain items. But if you're not being found in search, then what do you expect? People are just going to buy from what they can find. Now, there was also talk at the conference, and an excellent presentation from the CEO of Channel Advisor, Scott Wingo, talking about setting up Google Product Search. And there were some Australian retailers that I spoke to afterwards who were a little bit confused by that, because one of the things that Scott said was that you need a UPC, or a Universal Pricing Code, to attach to a Universal Product Code to attach to a product. That's only the case with some categories, and specifically media and software. But if you're doing fashion, if you're doing jewellery, if you're doing apparel, whatever these other categories are, homewares for instance, you don't necessarily need to do that. So to set up your store, if you like, in Google Product Search, just head across to google.com/PRDHP. If you want someone else to set it up for you, we do that. There's plenty of people do it. It's basically setting up a data feed that corresponds to your site. Now, if you're not used to doing that, then I'd recommend that you get a professional to do it. But if you just want to find out about it first, so you know the right questions to ask a supplier, then head across to this site and go through the process of setting it up. But look, it was only launched, Google Product Search was only launched in Australia in May this year. So that's why we're not seeing a lot in there. But I'll tell you who some of the big retailers, offline retailers that I have seen in there, and that is dicksmith.com.au. And they're about the only major retailer, that brand name retailer that I know of, to be in there. If you're seeing other ones, then please let us know. But it was a great conference, learn a lot, and I would suggest that, and offline retailers will love this one, not. There was one online retailer, selbyacoustics.com.au. He started as an eBay retailer, then went across and set up his own store because he got more and more successful. And now he's got so successful, he's had to set up some retail outlets. So that's the whole experience in reverse, and I love it. And that is it for this week's show. We'll see you next week. Thanks very much. Bye.